everybody, and welcome to a Let's Look At that I probably should have done a long time ago, but the timing is still right to take a Let's Look At of Anodyne here. And I apologize for doing things a little bit in media res, but I'm actually going to start kind of just playing from the very beginning of Anodyne. I put about an hour into this game so far, but it is... the easiest way to describe it is it's kind of like a top-down Zelda game, akin to something like A Link to the Past, which is obviously a huge influence on this game. And we're going to play through like the first dungeon, because there are some puzzles, so I want to make sure I don't fuck it up completely. But in any case, this is a two-dude joint. A couple of guys made Anodyne, and I've been hearing from them occasionally over the past year as development has progressed and as releases come about. And this game's been picking up a lot of steam. It actually just got greenlit yesterday, which is probably like 2 days ago, considering when this video will actually go up. But in any case, yeah, this is a dungeon crawler. Basically, I'm gonna make this comparison a lot, but a huge Link to the Past vibe with this here. The puzzles are not like puzzle platformer in the typical sense. They are more Zelda in a sense. Anyway, we are going to play through probably the first half hour of this game. I am liking this game a great deal so far, and I feel kind of remiss that I took so long to take a look at it. I needed more incentive, or more prodding, I guess, than I usually do to take a look at indie games, because normally I suck at games like this, like adventure games, even as much as I do love A Link to the Past. I've got a great Link to the Past story, but I'll tell it a little bit later. So, first things first, in typical, genre, trope fashion, we are being introduced to our main character, who is named Young. There is a darkness spreading throughout the land. The darkness seeks the legendary Briar to use the Briar's power for evil, and etc., etc. We must protect everybody, basically. These C's represent our checkpoints. We're gonna go through some brief tutorialization, again, because we are at basically the very start of the game, but I'm going to try to skip through as much of that as is humanly possible, and use this waypoint to just jump into our world. So they're going to introduce to us fairly quickly the kind of combat in this game. So first things first, this is, not just Link to the Past, it's got shades of the original Zelda as well, as we will eventually see our map. I can't do anything quite here yet. By the way, soundtrack, absolutely fantastic. I think the graphics are fantastic as well, even though our character does look a little bit like Doc Brown. There is a switch puzzle for us. Oh god, what happened? Like, sticky keys started going or something. You can do it, Young. For whatever reason, I couldn't stop walking to the right there. I think that might be a Camtasia Studio thing, though. So we picked up our weapon. It is going to be a broom handle, or just a broom in general, I guess. And we're going to use this not only for combat, but also for solving puzzles as well. What I was going to say earlier before my keyboard glitched out there is that I think the game looks beautiful. I'm not sure how it's gonna scale on YouTube, because sometimes, this is a game that is in, like, portrait format, so it's much taller than it is wide. But we'll see. It should probably just have, like, huge black bars on the side, which is A-okay by me. I don't want to pervert the initial resolution. So we've learned a good deal about Anodyne so far, if you've been watching this and kind of taking in the information organically. Basically, after you kill enemies, if there's gates, a lot of those gates will oftentimes open. And that's going to make for a lot of our puzzle-solving mechanic as we move forwards. First things first, though, we are going to be introduced to that ghost there. There are elements of the supernatural, or perhaps the ethereal, that will appear from time to time. But again, I'm very early in this game, so I'm not totally sure where the story goes so far. But I'll talk about that a little bit later, actually. Not to spoil the fun. Anyway, we can learn that with our broom, we can collect dust and then place it elsewhere. This is going to be a very important puzzle element, but I like that it doesn't beat you over the head with it, or give you, like, a very extended tutorial sequence. It kind of lets you find things out for your own, and it's always a delicate balance as we meet our first character here. I guess third character here. But it's always a delicate balance between over-tutorialization and not enough tutorialization. I think Anodyne hits that balance fairly well. Definitely, the other thing is, Kate pointed out, there's a big, like, Pokemon world map vibe here. But I think Pokemon's world map, or, when you were traversing throughout the levels, took a lot of influence from Link to the Past as well. Anyway, so we're being introduced to this character. She is going to be a big help for us as we move forwards in the story. Great musical theme as well, as I try to run away here. Maybe we will run into each other again sometime. Maybe we will. And I believe we play as the silent protagonist. I've never heard Young actually speak. Let's move on through here. Basically, the way that this is going to work, the setup for this video, is that we're going to explore a little bit, and then we are going to conquer the entire first dungeon, because I don't want to show off too much. We can't go through this door. The number on the door indicates the number of cards that we actually need to progress. That's why we can't go through there yet, and there should be another door down here that I can't go through. As you can see, we need a silver key to be able to get through there. So everything is behind lock and key. And as you complete dungeons, you will get keys, which will allow you to progress a little bit further. At least that is my experience so far. And, having a little bit of experience with the genre, I feel relatively confident in saying that's how it's going to go. By the way, the red bars that these guys drop, we haven't had one in a little while, but They are not rupees. There's our first card. They are not rupees. They are actually health, which took me way too long to realize because I'm kind of an idiot, I guess. So there's writing scrawled on this rock. Rock, I'll bet you're reading a rock because you don't have any friends. Hits a little too close to home, Rock, I've got to say. So, by the way, with those cards, we can go into our inventory and take a look at the description on the cards. I'm not sure what this actually means. It's a little bit cryptic. Kind of like it that way. So this guy says he doesn't mind being watched by the trees. Anyway, we need 4 cards in order to progress through this door, and we will not get 4 cards in this first little area here. We're gonna have to go through the dungeon in order to get those. So I can't quite remember where we're supposed to go. There's a lot of exploration that you're gonna have to do in this game, but I kind of like that. After you finish the first dungeon, it kind of feels like a lot of the world is wide open to you. It almost brought back shades of like Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls, where it's basically like, alright, you got through the scripted sequence, figure it out, motherfucker. And I kind of like that, actually. We did just find that dungeon kind of by accident here. So the sage is telling us that we have to make it through this temple. Sorry, not dungeon. Registered trademark of Shigeru Miyamoto. We'll need both strength and intellect, and I assume by this point you have found a weapon. Check it out. Of course. A broom, the prophecy foretold, etc., etc. Anyway, we're gonna save at our checkpoint here and then move into the temple. Sorry if I'm speeding through things just a little bit here, but I want to get to the gameplay, because otherwise we could spend, 45 minutes just tooling around in this world of Anodyne before we get started. So, this is where they do kind of introduce us to how we can use this dust effectively. Basically, in true... It almost feels like a Northernlion drinking game at this point. But in true Link to the Past fashion, every temple sort of has a theme with respect to its puzzles and gameplay. And the theme for this one is definitely going to be using dust to traverse difficult areas and block these turrets from shooting, for lack of a better word. Anyway, let's make our way through here. And our overall goal, standard temple fare, we are going to fight a boss. And we are going to get some kind of quest item that will allow us to progress a little bit further. Game starts out really easy, especially on the combat front. These enemies are not that difficult. But what we do have to do is kind of explore the entirety of the temple first, just to get a feel for, how we're supposed to go. These enemies do move now, which makes them a little bit harder, but, not all that hard. It's a very gentle curve. By the way, this door needs to be opened with a key. Sadly, we do not have a key. That's our only inventory slot, as you can see up there in the top left. At least it's the only inventory slot that I've dealt with so far. So we're just going to continue killing these gish heads here. Wanted to make sure I put myself in a position where I was not accidentally going to trap myself by walking over all of that stuff. And we picked up another card, so again, this will be the gish card. Because I don't know what the actual canonical name of the enemy is. Oh well. Still no keys, but again, these cards are important for us as well. We don't need to kill these guys again, so I'm not sure why I'm doing that. So we can basically abandon the right side of the map for now. Let's try to go up instead. Obviously, can't go through there yet. So, oh, that was bad. Well, I might as well try to kill them now to see if I get any health back. Most of the damage that I take in this game, at least in the early game, is not actually from, like, being hit by the enemies. It's from actually hitting the enemies, like walking into them by accident. Alright, so we're going to go to the left, as we are doing right now. In the meantime, we are going to block these turrets from shooting so we can get through without taking damage. We could probably get through taking only a little bit of damage in the first place. Yeah, just let the turret kill that guy there. By killing this last remaining zombie. It's amazing! There's a little bit of a Binding of Isaac theme running throughout this, and actually, someone on Twitter yesterday was like, hey, I found a Binding of Isaac themed dungeon in Anodyne. Just thought you'd like to know, so... For those of you who are Isaac fans, I mean, Isaac itself took a lot of influence from the first Legend of Zelda. So it's kind of like a weird, back and forth forever type thing going on where, these influences are inspiring other developers, and then those other developers are making games that inspire games that are, also inspired by the original, if that makes any sense at all. It might not. I kind of feel like I was rambling. We have a key there finally, so we could, if we wanted to, go to the right side now, but in the meantime, why don't we just come up here, because we're here already. Might as well put that guy right into that. We can get some free health and just come through this way. I believe there's like another card or something up here. And we might have to use these guys to solve a puzzle of sorts. I think we kill this guy. At least so far, the switch puzzles have not really involved, like keeping enemies on switches. It's more just been, hey, make sure that switches are... both down at exactly the same time, and then the door's unlocked forever, which I appreciate as someone who is normally pretty bad at puzzles. But, the puzzles might get more difficult as we move along. Hardest puzzle for me in A Link to the Past was when after you get the hook shot and you have to figure out how to get across the river, but you don't realize that there's a rock that you can hook shot to. Those of you who have played Link to the Past probably know what I'm saying right now. Those of you who have not played A Link to the Past, what are you doing? It's a great game. You should go check it out. So in order to unlock that door at the very top here, we are going to have to kill all the enemies in this room. So in order to do that, what we have to do is actually just come over here. Remember that we did pick up a key, so we'll just run through here, kill these bats, who are a nuisance, but usually do not hit me. And then we'll just try to run accordingly, fit through there perfectly, kill this dude, and the slime is going to stay dead forever, provided I don't die myself. Which I have done. It might seem like the game's really easy, and I mean we are, you know, to be fair, near the very beginning of the game. But it's not as easy as it looks right now. I've died several times, especially trying to make my way to the second dungeon, which is basically where I am in the game right now. This is almost a tutorial dungeon. You can consider this like the undead asylum of this game, if you will. Not that the game has too many parallels to Dark Souls. Did I accidentally put myself in the boss room? I think I did. Alright, so we're going to be fighting the boss right now. I forgot that he was right up here already. So we're going to be fighting this mask, basically. And the mask has, shall we say, ambiguous relations, or ambiguous alliances. He's a great overseer, apparently. He's witnessed every step we've taken in the land. And let me tell you, young, not everyone here is as honest as me. That makes me think maybe the Sage is trying to get us to do something, you know, Bioshock 1 style. Would you kindly kill this dude who's actually your ally? Anyway, usually my allies do not try to shoot me, which is what this guy is getting up to. But anyway, we're gonna try to hit this guy with our broom. Boss mechanics work real well. Does he now? Okay, he does start doing this now. That dust is gonna become important. And you know, I like the boss design in this game, at least so far. Because this boss, at least, seems as much like a puzzle as like an action event. Especially because you're like, oh shit, there's no way to dodge this big laser that's coming for me. Then you remember, alright, this magical dust in the land can block basically anything. So I do enjoy that a great deal, actually. I think there's a serious, like, this is a love letter to a lot of different games. In particular, you know, the one I've mentioned so far endlessly that shall not be named. But it does a really good job. This doesn't feel like a Link to the Past fan tribute. This feels like if the dudes who did A Link to the Past made a sequel, it could feel like this. And I'm being genuine when I say that. I'm not necessarily saying Anodyne is as good as A Link to the Past. What I'm saying is it definitely, like, hits those notes that A Link to the Past hit, while still being its own, like, standalone, original quality game. I'm really impressed with this so far. I'm really glad it got greenlit. And we can get a fairy here. Again, not a total ripoff of Zelda. An homage, if you will, although the line is always blurry. In any case, this fairy is going to give us a new HP bar, which is going to be beneficial moving forwards. We'll find some more eventually. I think we are sort of ready to be done this dungeon, which is much quicker than I expected. She's going to give us some cards. This card you find in the chest, now there's like it are symbols of your growth, so acquiring them is absolutely vital to your quest. Also, what she doesn't say is acquiring these cards is vital to our quest because it opens the doors for us that allow us to access new areas. But in any case, I digress. So we picked up our silver key now. This is going to unlock a lot of areas for us. This should be, yes, this is like the masked overseer card. Why don't we look at the description for that, because I didn't earlier. I will be with you, young, whenever you are alone. Elliot, I'll be right here. You guys, E.T.? So this is a waypoint. We might as well activate this waypoint. This just gives us a quick way to kind of move throughout the level. So we'll activate that waypoint. Eventually, I'm assuming this statue is going to move. I like when games do that. They have you do like a very early area, and then they block off the area immediately, like adjacent to it. Because it feels like, man, anything could happen in that area. We need another key here. This is the thing. So I know there's one more card left in this dungeon. I just don't remember how to get it. I might end up taking a look at our map. Because I obviously want to make sure that I've gotten all the cards here, because without 4 cards, I can't actually progress in the first place. So I guess it is down here instead. But yeah, there's a lot of areas that do that, or a lot of games that do that, I should say. I've been comparing a lot to Dark Souls, but Dark Souls does that sometimes. There will be like areas right near the very beginning of the game that you can't actually get to until you get a little bit later. I guess I'm thinking of in particular, I mean, you can go to New Londo Ruins. You don't really want to, though, is maybe what I'm trying to get at there. There's our last key. Again, early dungeon, not too difficult in the way of puzzles or just finding your way around, which I appreciate, you know, ease you into the game. As bad as I am at these kind of adventure games, as you can probably guess, huge Link to the Past fan. The problem that I had with the Link to the Past is I was playing it on like an old Super Nintendo when I was like 20 for the first time, believe it or not, because I was so bad at these games I never played a Link to the Past as a kid. What this does mean is I didn't have any rose-colored glasses when it came to Link to the Past. I was playing it fresh and I still loved it. No nostalgia necessary. We're gonna get hurt here. But the thing that ruined it for me is I got to the final boss, you know, got frustrated with it, turned the game off for a day, and then when I tried to turn it on, the internal battery on the console had, or not on the console, but on the cartridge had failed, and found out all my progress had sadly been nullified. So that was basically the worst day of my young adult life, which says something for kind of the cushy life that I've led so far, I guess. Kill this dude, kill these two gishes, and with these two dudes dying. By the way, that was my good Link to the Past story, so you and I probably have different definitions of what makes a good story. What do we have here? We now have 4 cards, so you know, this has been a little bit faster than I expected. This dungeon probably took me like a half hour my first time through. But, I mean, that's the way Zelda goes sometimes. I mean, you're seeing Zelda speedruns these days. People beating the entire, you know, Wind Waker in like 4 hours or something. So, obviously the game, you know, there's the potential to be quicker and quicker as you go. And, you know, there's other elements to speedruns as well. Oh god, I just remembered I left my coffee maker on. Please don't make an appearance in this video! Anyway, we're just gonna continue onwards here, and we'll go down, and then exit through here, and now we basically have our pick of where to go, as we save at this checkpoint here, but in all likelihood we are gonna wanna go, I can't believe that bat hit me, we are gonna wanna go, back to where that 4-card door was, and I'll kind of explain, or kind of demonstrate or display, I guess, how many different options are available to us now, which is something that I really enjoy when games like that, or games like this give you like the opportunity to basically, after the first scripted area, be like, well, figure it out. I enjoy that. Again, Dark Souls the Firelink Shrine, it was like, do you go to the skeletons, do you go to, you know, not Anor Londo, on Deadburg, do you go to New Londo Ruins? Did I say New Londo Ruins? No, I didn't. Do you go to the Catacombs? I did say the Catacombs. Anyway, but by unlocking this new area, we'll have a little, like, almost like a gauntlet here, like a little combat spell, and I believe we will get an item at the end of this, at which point, that might be a good time to end this video, but I should point out, if you're interested in seeing a Let's Play of this, because I know whenever I play games similar to this, people are oftentimes suggest Let's Plays, and I don't disagree with you necessarily, this would be a fun game to Let's Play. The thing is, J-Smith OTI already doing one, so if you want to go check up on Josh's Let's Play, I'll encourage you to do so. I'll leave a link to part 1 of his series in the video description. Careful. What happened? I don't know what's going on with like the screen flicker that we're getting here. This is a little unusual, but I'm just going to assume that's an artifact from recording. 1 second here. Alright, maybe that'll make things a little bit better. As you might expect, a Vera antivirus just decided to show up. No, fairy, don't do it. I thought it was gonna leave. Actually, it filled our health. And is it gonna? Yes, it is gonna give us another HP upgrade. Beautiful. So, that's actually, of course, super beneficial. I like that the game gives out these HP upgrades kind of with reckless abandon. Because normally, you know, if it wasn't for this, I would suck a little bit. Just keep going this way. Oh, we have the silver key now. That's how we get to the next area. Okay, so we will play for a few more minutes. But again, I just wanted to reiterate that, Josh is playing through this game right now, so if you're interested in seeing a Let's Play, don't necessarily expect to see one from me. This is a game that I'm probably going to play a lot more of in my downtime, but I like taking my time with puzzles. Those of you who watch the Fez Let's Play probably know how my puzzle ability, which is already bad, suffers from being put in the spotlight and rushed, whereas he is a little bit more adept at it, so I would encourage you to go check out his stuff. Anyway, so this is our kind of new area, which is very mysterious. Again, would like to reiterate that I think the soundtrack to this game is absolutely excellent. The distribution model for Anodyne, as we get this little guy that's going to follow us around here, a cat, if you will. I've heard that's what they're called in the human land. Yes, you may follow me around. Again, I've never had like a dialogue option so far, like whether to say yes or no. But the release model for Anodyne, as we go to this waypoint. How could you, Icky? Or Meow Chow. I just wanted to get the waypoint. In any case, maybe this is a good time to stop. But the release model for Anodyne, it is greenlit, so it will be available on Steam at some point in the future. I'm not sure when. The game's done, so I imagine it's going to come out on Steam fairly soon. But in the meantime, you can buy it from the website. The model, I believe, is pay what you want as long as what you want is more than $9, or $9 or more, I should say. So you could pay them $9 for the game if you want, you could pay them $200 for the game if you want. This is a game that if you're, thinking to pay around the bare minimum, $9, $10, I think it is absolutely worth it, and if you have fond memories of the Super Nintendo and NES Legend of Zelda games, and adventure games like it, you're going to have a very, very good time with this game. This is a well-crafted and kind of loving homage, if you will, to those games. It really accomplishes what it sets out to do. Beyond that, you can also get a pay what you want plus the soundtrack for, I believe, a minimum of $12, which, might be up your alley if you are loving the music so far, if you can even hear it over my incessant talking. But in any case, big ups to the developers of this game. Congratulations on getting greenlit. This is probably going to be one of the greatest successes for Greenlight, at least in terms of the game's quality, but let's hope it sells well as well. But in any case, this is Anodyne. Thank you guys for watching. As always, peruse the video description for links to the game and to Josh's video series. And in any case, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.